On April 15, 1912, the world watched in disbelief as the unsinkable RMS Titanic vanished beneath the icy waves of the North Atlantic. The official history, the one taught in schools and shown in films, blames a single catastrophic collision with an iceberg. It's a neat, simple explanation for an unparalleled disaster. But behind this accepted narrative lie missing documents, testimonies that contradict one another, and sealed investigations that hint at a much darker, more complicated truth. What happened in those frigid waters was not just a tragedy. It was a turning point engineered by decisions made in secret long before the ship ever set sail. This is the story history was never meant to question. The official timeline of the Titanic's final hours is meticulously detailed. But when you compare it to the raw, unfiltered accounts of the survivors, the story begins to fracture. Official statements claim the ship went down in one piece, only for later evidence to prove it split in two. But some survivors insisted it split much earlier than reported, a detail that was systematically ignored. Many described seeing mysterious lights on the horizon of another ship, close enough to help, yet which never came. Others reported hearing a loud, muffled explosion from deep within the ship's hull, just moments before the final plunge began. These testimonies, filled with details that didn't fit the official narrative, were either heavily edited, dismissed as hysteria, or simply withheld from the public record. The question isn't just what these survivors saw. It's why their memories were so dangerous to the official story. After the disaster, a strange thing happened. Key sections of the Titanic's original construction blueprints went missing. These weren't just any random schematics. They were the detailed plans for the ship's bulkhead reinforcements, the complex communications wiring, and the specific layout of the cargo hold. These documents were the very heart of the ship's design. In the hands of investigators, they could have revealed fatal structural weaknesses or pointed to pre-existing damage. But they also could have exposed something else entirely, the nature of the secret cargo that some believe the Titanic was carrying. With these blueprints gone, a crucial piece of the puzzle was conveniently erased, leaving only speculation in its wake. The mystery deepens when we look to the horizon. The SS Californian was the closest ship to the Titanic that night, reportedly less than 20 miles away. Its captain and crew later claimed they saw flares, but dismissed them as company signals, not distress calls. They also stated their wireless system was shut off for the night, preventing them from hearing the Titanic's desperate pleas for help. But this account is riddled with inconsistencies. Multiple witnesses, both on the Titanic and on other ships, described a mystery ship that sat motionless in the distance, ignoring the chaos. Was the Californian this mystery ship? Why would its crew lie about what they saw? Denying they saw the flares and shutting down communication suggests something more than simple negligence. It suggests a deliberate choice to stand by and watch. Perhaps the most chilling clue lies not with those who were on the ship, but with those who weren't. In the days leading up to the maiden voyage, several of the world's most powerful and influential figures mysteriously canceled their reservations. We're talking about titans of industry like J.P. Morgan, Henry Clay Frick, and Alfred Vanderbilt. All of them had strong financial and political ties, and many were vocal opponents of the creation of the new Federal Reserve, a major banking reform being debated at the time. Their last-minute cancellations meant they all conveniently avoided the disaster. Was it a string of incredible coincidences? Or did they have access to information that the public didn't? Was it a premonition or a forewarning? Let's talk about the cargo. The official manifests are mundane: mail, fine wines, textiles, and personal belongings. But fragments of alternative manifests, whispered about by dock workers and maritime historians, paint a very different picture. They mention heavily reinforced safes, sealed crates marked as confidential, and documents described as sealed under instruction. What was the Titanic carrying that required such extraordinary secrecy? Some theories point to priceless artifacts, others to gold bullion. But the most compelling theory suggests it was carrying something far more valuable: incriminating evidence or political documents that could have shifted the balance of global power. Whatever it was, its true nature sank with the ship, locked away in the darkness. The idea of an explosion wasn't just a wild rumor. Multiple survivors, interviewed independently, insisted they heard and felt a deep, rumbling blast from within the hull before the ship began to break apart. Others described seeing fire and smoke emerging from the ship's interior. Decades later, investigations into the wreck found evidence that a coal fire had been burning in one of the ship's bunkers for days, even before it left port. Such a fire could have heated the steel bulkheads to a critical point, severely weakening them. If a weakened bulkhead was the first point of contact with the iceberg, the damage would have been far more catastrophic than a simple gash. The company knew about this fire. Why was this information suppressed during the inquiries? Why was the risk ignored? Follow the money, and the story gets even stranger. The Titanic was insured for an unprecedented amount, far higher than the standard maritime coverage of the era. Just days before the voyage, there were last-minute changes to the ship's ownership filings and other complex financial arrangements. The paper trail is convoluted, but it suggests that certain parties stood to benefit enormously from the ship's destruction. The insurance payout was massive, and the elimination of key political opponents of banking reform cleared the way for legislation that would reshape the world's financial landscape. The sinking of the Titanic wasn't just a human tragedy. For some, it was a profitable enterprise. When the time came for answers, the world was given a carefully constructed illusion of justice. Both the British and American inquiries swiftly arrived at the same convenient conclusion. It was a tragic combination of human error and plain bad luck. The captain was going too fast, the lookouts didn't have binoculars, and the iceberg was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. But both investigations conspicuously avoided the most difficult questions. They steered clear of the ship's controversial cargo, refused to examine the complex financial records, and dismissed the dozens of survivor testimonies that contradicted the official story. Evidence was sealed, reports were redacted, and witnesses with inconvenient truths were discredited. The goal wasn't to find the truth, it was to bury it. So we are left with the final, unavoidable question. Was the Titanic disaster really just an accident? Or was it an event influenced by hidden agendas, deliberate sabotage, and truth that were systematically erased from history? The iceberg was the weapon, but who directed it? Who knew what was going to happen? Who profited from the loss of over 1,500 lives? And what else truly sank that night, hidden in the depths alongside a supposedly unsinkable ship? History records the collision with the iceberg. It conveniently avoids the conspiracy that may have led to it. If you're ready to uncover more forbidden history and challenge the stories we've all been told, subscribe to the True Story Files, and let us know in the comments what you believe really happened to the Titanic.